Just hit record. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, it's in a bear market right now. We'll pull up the Bitcoin ETF. Ever since this thing debuted, it's just been naturally decaying all the way down. And even Bitcoin itself went from 67,000. Now it's down to 30 something thousand. And what we were just talking about was the last time Bitcoin up and ran. The Bitcoin's up at 37,000. The last 6 months, right here back in November was when it peaked out, did a double top up here. And from 70,000, it's been in a bear market and retracing all the way down to 37. And what we were just talking about, we look at this max chart here. Now, the way I'm going to look at this, Bitcoin has already proven itself. It's proven itself with that first run that it had. I mean, you can even go back further if you want to when Bitcoin was at $100 or under $100. Nobody really was talking about Bitcoin at that time. I mean, there's a documentary out there about Bitcoin, the real early investors, and you just see how super excited they were when Bitcoin crossed over $100 in value. That was insane. But let's take a look at this real quick with Bitcoin and talk about Bitcoin real quick. Well, Bitcoin, in my eyes, you guys, it's already proven itself right here with this run, right there back in 2018. You guys can reflect and think back. You guys remember the Bitcoin craze when it went from 1,000 and it ran all the way up to almost 20,000. And then after it almost touched 20,000, then it started to decay all the way back down to 4,000, 5,000, and it sat there for some time. It went into a bear market and it died off. At the beginning of 2018 is when it started to fall down and start to decay, and then it sat there at 4,000, 5,000 all of 2018, all of 2019, 2020, really at the beginning of 2021 was when it really started to heat back up again and take off. So how long is that? 18, 19, 20, 3 years. Bitcoin went into a bear market and it consolidated and pulled back. And that's when you've seen a lot of people, they're like, Bitcoin's a scam. It's never going to come back. Through Bitcoin, I lost all of my money. And now look at what Bitcoin has done. So Bitcoin has proven itself. Now when you read the papers, everybody's getting involved with Bitcoin. Everybody. Now they're pumping up all these Bitcoin stocks. Elon Musk had a few Bitcoins he was promoting and pumping. You have everybody's being more adapting to Bitcoin now. It just made a huge run from 10,000 all the way up to a high of almost 70,000. That's a fantastic run. And when you read in the papers now that all of these institutions, these banks, they're getting involved with Bitcoin. Everybody's being more adapting to it. You got to think that next big run is going to be up to what? 100,000. That's going to probably be the next big run for Bitcoin. How you would go about this? Since it's proven itself, as it's going into this correction, you could be gradually putting a little bit in it over the course of time. And then looking at that big picture, this thing's you're planning on it from here running up what, about 70,000. That's a big return on Bitcoin. So within the next 5 to 10 years, I would say with Bitcoin to make that run up to 100K, putting everything together. And this is where experience comes in hand, you guys. Back when Bitcoin, and I was around when Bitcoin made this run right here from 1,000 up to almost 20,000. It happened at around Christmas time, and everybody was gifting each other Bitcoin. Everybody was talking about it. It was on all the news channels. Everybody was talking about it right as it was approaching 20,000. And then I also remember the stock market. They proposed to have Bitcoin ETF and Bitcoin futures, but the SEC denied it. Not a lot of people remember that, but I remember that when it happened. It got denied at the time. Now that Bitcoin failed and it made a comeback with this run here up to 70,000, now it's got more eyes on it. Now we have Bitcoin ETF, BITO. We have a lot of blockchain stocks. It's starting to be more accepted by people, and people are starting to invest more into this stuff. Look around. You got NFTs, non-fungible tokens. You got Facebook with the metaverse. Everything's going digital and online, you guys. Everything. With the metaverse, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, they're really putting all their money into that project. And all the kids, and this is where it pays to be very observant of your surroundings, you guys, the environment we live in. All these kids, they're eating it up. All these kids want the Oculus 2. They're in the metaverse. When you get on TikTok, you're scrolling through those videos, you see a lot of those metaverse video clips, don't you? Kids are eating it up. The kids are our future, you guys. The kids. So the kids are eating it all up. They're thinking all of this is cool. Think and plan ahead for the future right in front of us. So Bitcoin, it'll come back. It's going to make that run up to 100,000. It's just right now, it's in a bear correction. And the way you got to look at it, and this is the same thing applies with the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, Dow Jones. Over the course of time, if you plan on being invested for the next 10 to 20 years, you should be looking at this as an opportunity. So if the markets and all of the indexes do go into correction and we do go into a bear market, don't get upset and pissed off about it. No, look at, this is where millionaires are made, you guys. This is opportunity. We don't get this type of opportunity every day. Markets are designed to continue to push up higher. Remember that. Markets are designed to push up higher. So over time, everybody's investments go up higher. Imagine this chart here is a daily chart of the S&P 500. If you plan on being invested for the next 10 to 20 years in the stock market, as we go into a bear market and a correction, and we continue to tick down lower like this over time, let's say this is over the course of a year and a half. Every single day you're working at your job, you're contributing a percentage of your paycheck into your 401k. Consistency every single week. So as it ticks down and you're consistently just averaging in, putting a little bit over time, 10 years, 15 years down the road, you guys, this is where you're going to make times 10, times 20 your money that you put into this. Look it back. I want to pull up the SPY now just to show you guys a blatant example. Think out. You got to always look at the big picture. Roll out on this chart. We're going all the way back to 2008, you guys. This was about 15 years ago. 2008 right there. Look at how far we've come. Here, you'd be retiring by now. I was just graduating high school when this was happening right here. So if I would have listened to my elders and said, invest your money, look at how much it's ran up. It's ran up 500 points. And you want to be aggressive when you're young. So when older people, they start to get near retirement, let's say you're about to retire in 5 years. After you go on a nice bull run like this, and when you start to get a correction, that's when older people start to freak out and panic because they're like, I just invested consistently, nonstop, every week, the last 20 to 30 years, and I cannot give back all of my money because I don't know when the markets are going to rally back and run up to all-time new highs. So with the markets, look at it as an opportunity if you enter into a bear market or a correction, especially if you're a long-term investor. It's opportunity. Any type of dip. Look at back when COVID hit, the S&P 500, the SPY dipped from 350 all the way down to 220. That's about a 130 point drop in about a month. 2 months. And look at how fast we rebound back up to the highs. Always look at corrections, bear markets as opportunity, you guys, for the future. It's setting us up to propel higher down the road when the markets correct and pull back. And it's a win-win for everybody because the lower the indexes tick every day, every week when they make new lows, more panic comes into the VIX. And then that only gives us opportunity in inverse ETFs like UVXY. All last week when we went into that correction, the UVXY went on a nice run. $17 up to 22 in a day. Look at the bigger one here. But from 12.50, this ripped up to a high of 22.50. That's a nice $10 per share run. So even if you're a long-term investor and you're a little worried about your portfolio, you can hedge your portfolio with something like UVXY. If you feel a correction is coming in and you want to make a little coin on the side, you got UVXY. That's what's so great about the stock market, you guys. There's opportunities everywhere. You just have to know where to look. You have to educate yourself on all of the different types of trading vehicles and ways you can make money in the markets, because there's more than just one. But the thing to keep in mind, don't overwhelm yourself with jumping from subject to subject to subject to subject. Focus on one thing, master it, and then once you start consistently making a little bit of money with that, then you can branch off to something else and learn about it. Stock market's very, very trendy, as we've all said. Back when Bitcoin made that run up right here, we've seen all these blockchain and crypto related stocks start to pop off and run. I remember it was almost, I wasn't around for the .com boom, but some of you older folks here or members here may remember back when 2000, all these companies, all they were doing was putting out a press release that they were putting a .com at the end of their name and going on the World Wide Web. Their stocks exploded. They called it the .com boom. Same thing applies here. I teach you guys human nature never changes. It happens over and over and over again. Back when Bitcoin first exploded right here on the chart, all these stocks in the stock market, all they were doing was putting out press releases. And if they mentioned cryptocurrency, blockchain, their stock exploded. I'm not talking just a couple dollars. No, these stocks were running up $20, $30 a share in a day. It was insane. That's what we call bubbles. And once the bubble pops, look at how fast it fell down and then it sat there. But now Bitcoin proved itself and it made this ultimate comeback here. And look at the volume increase over time with Bitcoin. And remember the saying too, the stock market, you want a magic number is 3. So if you zoom in on this chart, you got 3 waves. 1, 2, 3. 3 waves of volume on Bitcoin as it kept inching up higher. And you could see when it made its highs right here, it did it on all that extreme volume. And then when it made its new high right here, look at how much less volume it was. That's a sign right there that the stock was, or Bitcoin was pushing up on significantly lighter volume. That's a sign right there that, hey, things are going to probably change, or the trend is going to change. And since then, Bitcoin got demolished 50%. And you can see how quickly I picked up on that and put that together. And I don't have any indicators on my chart. I tell you guys, all the answers are right in front of your face. Just gotta look left. The answers are there to tell the story. You don't need those indicators on your chart. Anytime Bitcoin pops up, takes off and run, referring back now when we said the stock market is very trendy, you guys, every time Bitcoin pops up and gets hot, we always see Mara and Riot pop off. Mara, Marathon Digital Holdings, runs with Bitcoin, and also Riot, R-I-O-T, Riot blockchain. Remember, the stock market is very trendy. So always be on the lookout for reoccurring themes to pop up and a topic to pop up. Not too long ago, NFTs got introduced to the market. And what did we see? We've seen a lot of NFT stocks pop and run for a hot second. I think it only lasted like 2 weeks and then it was dead. Back a few years ago, low float shipping container stocks were hot. Stocks like DCIX, Rise, Tops. If you've been around, you know what I'm talking about when I say shipping container stocks. those stocks exploded up stupidly.